stand for the opening prayer and pledge.
Father in heaven, bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so that we will work for the good of our community. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Thy will be done. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to call this meeting of the Hancock County Commission, Thursday, July 18th, 2:30 p.m. to order. Roll call.
Mr. President, all the commissioners are present this afternoon.
Okay. Gentlemen, approval of the minutes from June 27th and July 12th, 2019. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve both sets.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Citizens' remarks. Robert Cheeks.
Thank you for letting me speak to you again. We haven't talked for a while. I wanted to let you know what I was doing, where things stand, because the end of July is coming up quick. And I made a commitment to keep driving it even though the funds weren't there through July. So I'm trying to get this done before I have to go, because, you know, nobody else is going to take it up if I don't. And not putting anything on you guys. You guys have been great. You and Brooke County Commissioners both have been very supportive. But in the last couple of weeks or so, a couple of things have happened. I found out more information and whatnot I wanted to, give to you guys. One, I was in a Skype session with Senator Manchin, the 10th, and we talked about what was going on with the money and why it wasn't there and everything. And he said specifically it was the governor's responsibility to put that in the budget. So the money not being there is all on the governor. Balancing his budget or whatever on the back of the vets. I spoke with, I'm not sure about his last name, William Lenfeld. I spoke with him, and he said he's going to work on doing what he can to get it put back in the budget for next year. But that's not till what, January, February when they're in session. Yes. And I'm working on other ones to try and do the same thing. I'm using the American Legion to try and get the people, representatives throughout the state, to get them on board about trying to get that put back in next budget. Comes around, DAV doesn't have any problem with the commissioners paying for the drivers, but the state can't. That's illogical. If you guys can do it, the state can do it. And I found out the way this DAV stuff works, the DAV has no real say-so in it. West Virginia buys the vans that we use. They give them to the DAV, and the DAV leases them back to the hospital, leases them to the hospitals. So what business they have telling us how to run our vans that we provided is just beyond me. But that's the kind of stuff that's going on.
Too much government.
Yeah, well, too much of the wrong government. And then I was going around, you guys, I think you've been in contact with Brooke. Brooke was kind of working with the Helping Heroes to be the umbrella company to cover us. That's a dead horse. I've got a contact in Ohio and Marshall County. He's been working with them for 2 months, and they're still dragging their feet. They're looking for something that doesn't even exist. They're trying to find a contract between West Virginia and the DAV. It doesn't exist, and they're still looking for it. So what I did, because I pretty much gave up on them. The other thing is, I believe from the different things I've heard and talked to, I can't say it's a dead fact, but I believe they're going to want an administrative fee. And that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about, but that's not our goal. I went to the Legion in my area, Post 45. That's that letter I gave to you guys. That's from them. It took me 4 days to get the okay from them to be our cover, a nonprofit cover company. They don't want anything from us. They would put, the money would go into a separate account so it wasn't mixed up with the Legion money. And they would provide the records and stuff for monitoring, to make sure the thing's not being taken advantage of or no shenanigans is going on. And as a matter of fact, I spent the money and joined that Legion Post so I'd be able to keep an eye on things. Now I know you guys don't really know much about me, but I don't put up with any messing around, I've had jobs where I've handled multi-million-dollar budgets. So I know what goes on. So and the same thing has happened in Ohio Marshall. They went to Post 3 in Moundsville, and just like me, it took them 4 days to get the Legion to agree to be their umbrella. And the same kind of stipulations. There would be an account set up for you guys to place that money. And the other reason, same reason, Helping Hands is dragging their feet. They've been working with them for over 2 months and haven't gotten anything. It's always, well, we got to get one more thing, got to get one more thing. We don't have that problem with the Legions. Plus, personally, I like the idea of keeping the money between Brooke and Hancock and not down in Ohio County.
Correct.
My personal, preference. So, that's what we're looking at, because we're coming close to the end of the month. We got to, make a move somewhere. So, trying to think if there's anything else you really should know. But it's getting to that point, because I told you guys I could hang until the end of July, and drive even though the money wasn't there. Well, that less than 2 weeks, and I'm going to have to go find another job. I can't, and I'm afraid it'll drop through the cracks, because as far as I know, I'm the only one that's actively pursuing it. I mean, I know you guys have been doing your stuff, but I'm the only one that hasn't been anybody else. The one gentleman that was here before me, that had you guys all confused on what was really what, he refused to drive if he wasn't getting paid. So that gives you an idea. His is all mercenary. He wants, his idea is we should get paid hourly and there should be benefits. He wants it like a job. Well, it's not a job. He says, well, we're getting paid, it's not volunteer. Yeah, it is. You volunteer to do it for that amount of money. If you don't want that amount of money, then go somewhere else. So that's, if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything that you may have.
What you said there was the big thing. It's like, if we were the paymaster and benefits were involved in purchasing a van and insurance,
yeah, that's not.
It becomes a different type of expense versus an account.
Yeah, you're talking about $100,000 a year or so.
Right.
And that's the whole point. We've already paid for the taxpayers of West Virginia have already paid for the van, and they gave it to DAV to dole out.
This is strictly a supplement for the driver.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with
this
whether
part.
DAV. Yeah, what we're doing.
Right.
And that's why there wasn't any contract between DAV and the state, because DAV had nothing to do with it. It was strictly a state function.
Okay.
I just don't understand some of the logic. I didn't get on the phone with the guy from DAV because he's screaming, oh, we're just a strictly volunteer. Well, I'd like to know what his salary was for this strictly volunteer organization. It's only volunteer down on our level. Their level, he's getting 6 figures. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Cheeks,
Oh, sure.
did you say that Marshall or Ohio County that they are doing that through Legion also now?
Well, that's what's being proposed to them, the same as us.
Okay.
Because the money's already been approved by them, they're just looking for some place to put it. Well, like I said, it's been 2 months. Helping Heroes is still wanting stuff that doesn't exist. So they went to the Legion, you know, just like I did, and like I said, it took 4 days. You know, because they're not they have no liability.
Right.
Because they have nothing to do with the vans. They just, I mean, they could be giving me a stipend for anything. It just happens I drive a van too. Maybe they're giving me a stipend because I'm a nice guy, even though it's not true. You know, you could use anything you wanted. So, any other questions, gentlemen?
Appreciate your service.
Brooke County Commission is
I-
participating in this.
That's what I'm working on. They didn't have their meeting today. I told them about their last meeting, and they requested this letter that I gave you guys, you know, something in writing that they were willing to do it and stuff. So I'm pretty sure I can convince Tim and them to go along with it.
We've
If not-
been in contact with them.
Well, I figured you had,
Yeah.
but I didn't know if this last part, you know,
No, we
that
were,
I've gone doing.
we'll take that up under number 6 and
Yeah.
we'll say our part there.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions,
You're gonna-
John?
You're gonna stay?
Yeah, I'll stay as long as you want me here.
Thank you.
If we were to contribute to the cost of this,
Yes, sir.
would we be contributing it then to the American Legion Post?
No,
Forward?
there'll be a separate checking account made up. So the money, now, they'll be distributing it. You know, they'll have at least 2 signatures on the checking account. But it is a separate account, so the money of the Legion and this money is not mixed together. And like it says in the letters, we'll keep all the records and everything. And I plan to come back and tell you what's going on every quarter. If you need it more often than that, I'll come up whenever you need. I mean, this is that important to me, that we get these for these guys.
But if we were to fund this,
Yes,
who is it payable to?
it's going to go in a checking account.
I understand that.
Well,
What name? Under what
we
name?
haven't come up with a
Okay,
name.
so we're not that far
Call them
then.
the Ridge Runners or whatever. I don't
Okay.
care. You know, whatever name you want to put
That's to
on
be
it.
determined yet.
Well, I figured that was something you and Brooke County would kind of want to, you know. Like I said, I'm good with the Ridge Runners.
Okay.
You know, whatever, or you know, Brooke Hancock
Okay.
van driver or whatever.
Okay.
That's kind of a minor thing, you know, as far as a name goes.
Well, I'm just wondering I understand that the post is administrating the funds,
Yes,
but,
it'll be in a separate checking account.
okay.
That's the only purpose of that account, is for the money that's being distributed to the drivers.
Okay.
It won't have anything to do with,
It
Legion
probably the
funds.
safest thing is I don't even know what post you pick, we'll just put American Legion Post
it's
-1
45. It's one in Palmsby.
and DAV.
However you want to put
DAV
it.
van driver, something, and then this way she'll deposit money or issue a check.
To the
We might do it
account,
quarterly,
yeah.
we might do it quarterly. Just so
Yeah,
that-
however you
that's
want
the
to,
thing.
like I said, I don't care,
And
you know,
then
what you want to do.
we need records keeping for our auditors,
And
just like the
that's
Legion
going
we
to
need for
be,
this.
that's going to be taken care of.
And that's
what I
been the
said.
biggest holdup right now is who's gonna, because I even asked her what kind of difficulty we'd have if we became the paymaster.
That's not something you want to get into.
Right.
I mean, I'm not being smart, but you don't want to be
No,
directly
that's what we
involved with
talked
it.
about. That's what we talked
Yeah,
about.
that,
That's
you
not
don't want to
where
be
we wanna
directly
be.
involved with it.
Yeah.
Because if that was the case, then it opens up a whole nother
Can of worms.
can of worms that you guys don't want, and that's the reason for finding an umbrella company to watch over it.
Okay. Thank you. Roy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Correspondence, Dan Greathouse, Executive Director, now former, top of West Virginian Visitors Bureau, requesting financial support for the 2019 Wheeling Symphony performance in the amount of $5,000. This has been a yearly gift that we've given them for the symphony, which has already passed on the 4th of July weekend. So, gentlemen, do we want to continue this?
I move that we approve the $5,000 request, and we'll take that out of our appropriate line item.
And,
Question?
I'd just like to make it known that I do serve on the top of West Virginia CVB, so I just have to make that record for the ethics. But I am also in agreement that they had a very good turnout for there, and that one of the things that we've been doing yearly to help them out to bring the symphony in. There used to be a foundation that funded that, and they quit doing that about 2 years ago. So now we try to raise money throughout the community to help to bring them in.
Okay, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Jim Pryor, President Chester City Park Board, requesting financial support for the 2019 Summer Concert Series in the amount of $5,000. I believe this is the first time we've had this request. Is there,
I'd like to make a motion that we would give $1,500 to start out to help out the concert series there in the city park.
$1,500?
Yes.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. And this also can come out of Parks and Rec, isn't it? Which is our hotel motel tax. That's good. Good places to spend it for tourism. No old business, new business. Consideration of insurance renewal. Mr. Vitus.
Yes, this is for county insurance. What I'd like to get approved today is for the workers' comp to continue with Brick Street, and for the commission to continue to investigate the comparison between Travelers Insurance and the West Virginia Corp insurance proposals that we just received.
Okay. So is there a motion to renew the workers' compensation package through Brick Street Insurance?
So moved.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. And then the total package between the two,
Be next one.
yeah, we could possibly have that ready by next week.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Item number 2, consideration of shift differential for deputies. Gentlemen, we had some discussion that the afternoon turn shift, which works, I believe it's 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., am I correct, or 7 to 7? 7 to 7. That I will make a motion that we allocate 40 cents per hour for those deputies that work the late shift. We'll call that the late shift.
Move to approve.
Any other questions?
And this is going to be effective.
And we could make that retro to July 1, correct?
Yes, sir. Because they
Something
haven't
that
been
discussed last
paid.
year
Yeah.
for this term, yeah. This is pretty common, this was pretty common in a lot of the workplaces. You worked afternoon turn, you got maybe a quarter, you worked night turn, you got 40 cents, or maybe 30 and 50. There was always some compensation for not working daylight hours. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Number 3, consideration to appoint an individual to the Civil Service Commission. We conducted 3 interviews today. Is there anyone that would like to move a person to appoint to this?
I move that we appoint Gary Mooney to serve as the Civil Service Commission, which is, I believe, a 2-year term.
Mr. Mooney has actually been the person on the Civil Service for the past 7 years, I believe. He said 7 to 8 years. Any other questions?
We did have 3 individuals
Yeah.
apply and come in and interview for it. And they're all good folks, but Mr. Mooney is currently, like Paul says, serves on that board, and he'd like to continue to serve, so we chose him.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Brooke County Committee on Aging. This was brought up last year. We had a couple presentations last fiscal year, and Karen actually allocated $15,000 in this fiscal year budget. And I'd like to have a motion to
Move to approve.
15,000?
15,000
County.
for that.
Okay. Any questions? This is the program that the Meals on Wheels, I think it might have been its original term, and senior centers that they food. And I know this isn't a ton of money, but it's got to help somewhere, correct? And as the time goes on, we could see if maybe we need more. I believe the state increased their fee to $1 extra per meal, which is still less than half of what the meal costs. Yes. So, yeah,
And,
they like to eliminate that stuff and push it to the local level so we look like the bad guys.
And I'd like to also make that clear too, that even though this is going to the Brooke County Committee, that they are the ones that serve the ones in Hancock County. So that's where we're taking care of our residents here in Hancock County. Thank you for your services.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Okay, we have consideration to appoint a member to the BDC Executive Board. That is a board that the commissioner normally serves on, and at this point, none of the commissioners' desire right now is to continue serving on that particular board for no particular reason, and I'm going to ask you guys to table this until further discussion, maybe advertising, and seeing where we can go from here.
I move that we table this for
Questions?
the appointment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consideration to fund transportation for disabled veterans. This has been an ongoing thing for about 2 months. We do have a letter from Jim Justice. Those that would desire it can be made copies, or it's in your packet. I'm not going to read it. We've been in constant conversation with the Brooke County Commission, and we know what Marshall and Ohio County are doing. And you correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cheeks. The estimated cost was about $15,000. And we kind of agreed.
That's what we're going with now. Actually, to cover a whole year would be somewhere around $19,500. But we'll take the $15,000, and like I said, that'll get us through till the next budget year downstate. Maybe we can put enough pressure on our elected officials to do the right thing.
In some of the discussion with the Brooke commissioners, we thought if we would split that cost, that would be a great step forward. And everybody understands the problem is, I call it a paymaster.
Yeah.
Who's going to distribute the funds? But I'm going to make a motion that we pledge our $7,500 share to whomever it might be, which is hopefully it could be a post, an American Legion post.
FYI, even though I'm going to be a member of that post, I will not have anything to do with that account.
Yeah.
Because that would be a conflict of interest, being as I will probably receive funds from it. So you don't have to worry about that.
Okay. So whenever they find that particular piece, because the last thing they were working on was Helping Heroes.
Yeah, well, I did all the stuff I was telling you about. That happened after the last
Meeting
meeting
Okay.
down there. And although I did tell them about wanting to go with the Legion post, and that's how that letter that I gave you was originated, was because Tim wanted a letter, basically a commitment from the Legion post. But he's been on vacation too, so I haven't had a chance to get with him and tell him that we're ready to rock and roll. Just have to come up with a name, like you said, for someplace for the money to go.
Okay.
And like I said, however you want reported, however often, whatever you need, I'll see that you're supplied with it.
We'll take that up with her and see what she would request out of that. Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Number 7, approval of a grant contract with the West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources Bureau for Children and Families for fiscal year 1920 on behalf of the Juvenile Mediation Program. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Dog warden, approval of the May 2019 animal shelter report. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Consideration to hire 3 part-time workers to the animal shelter effective June 27, 2019. Catherine Amon, Alana Blanchard, and Megan Stover. Is there a motion to approve the hiring?
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Technology and communications. Oh, this is that revised memorandum?
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. Got a revised memorandum. There was an adjustment on the amount of money from 140 to 139 and just a couple other little minor things that were changed.
Right.
Okay, and we said we would reapprove it when it was in its form.
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve that memorandum.
Move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. And that was actually for the new bathhouse construction at Thomas and Run Park.
Yes, sir.
2, consideration to hire Natasha Babarski, full-time dispatcher, effective July 15, 2019. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Consideration of the resignation of Matthew McCune as a part-time dispatcher, effective July 15, 2019.
Move to approve.
Questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Consideration to advertise in local newspapers and on the county website for 4 more part-time dispatchers for the 911 center. Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Next 2 things are just yearly things. Consideration to approve a depository bond with United Bank. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Any questions? Mr. Wood, I'm going to presume these are okay to go.
These
correct?
are okay to go.
Yes, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. The second one is the consideration of approval of the receipt and custodial agreement from Federal Home Loan Bank on behalf of the Hancock County Savings Bank. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Sheriff's Department, consideration to hire 3 new probationary deputies effective July 29, 2019. James Gibbons, David Polgar, and Jacob Morgan. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Sheriff, would you like to speak on this?
We've, 2 of the officers will be replacing officers who have retired and or resigned. One resigned, they went to the mill, one actually retired from the sheriff's office. The 3rd officer is an addition to the department, but this is in conjunction with the school board, wherein one of our seasoned officers will be reassigned as a PRO/SRO officer and take on the duties of that. So that's where the 3 positions will be coming from, or going to. I could speak to more of it if you have any questions. There may be a confusion with the PRO/SRO, if I can elaborate on that for that particular point.
Okay.
Throughout the year, officers take vacations, they have sick days, they have training days, and this extra PRO officer will actually be assigned to the Weir Elementary School, which of course is Hancock County Schools. He'll be assigned there, but he won't be stationed there permanently, meaning like whenever there is an opening in another school, or he can help out because of a large gathering expected, such as proms and so on. We'll be able to move him around to cover, like I said, vacations and sick days or whatever else. But with the difference is, one of the biggest differences is Weirton Elementary has almost 1,000 children, It's a huge building and a huge responsibility, which we've had one officer there. That particular officer is also required to assist in traffic control in the beginning and end of the day, which removes him and puts him almost 150 yards away from the building itself. So this isn't conducive to the good security that we're trying to provide by taking an officer out of the school, out of the building, away from the children, and putting them on the road. The second officer, as that part of his duties, will be able to assist with all that. So I'll be getting a lot of use out of this particular man throughout the entire county. And again, this is the officer that was agreed upon through this body as well as school board. One thing I didn't do, I met with the school board a week or two ago, and I gave them packets. Would you pass this up to these are the packets that I presented to the school board during a question and answering period that we had regarding this. It was a story in the local papers, very well written, by the way, and pictures, etc., of what was going on. So, but that has some history in it that I know you're all familiar with to a degree, but it might help you. Our finance director was able to assist me a great deal in pulling the numbers out of her computer and into my hands.
Old faithful.
She comes through, doesn't she? So that'd be something you might want to read over later.
Okay. This program's probably been in effect. Sheriff, I know you were the chief of police in Weirton, and I actually sat on the school board, so that's...
It's been there for a while. I'm trying to think how many years it's actually been. It's been since about, I think, 98 maybe. We wrote the original grant right around then.
It's
Grant was written.
Definitely worthwhile project.
Oh, the grant was written out of the chief's police office, again, back when I was chief, for 2 PROs. West Virginia calls them PROs, police resource officers. The rest of the world calls them school resource officers. Anyways, it was a grant at that time. There was a 90-10 split. The state gave us 90% of the monies, and the school, or the Hancock County Commission, as well as City of Weirton, supplied the other 10%. Of course, as grants go, it's now close to a 10-90 split, where
we pay 10. We pay 90.
You pay 90. So, but with the school board's help, we've been able to increase the security at all the buildings, and we've been very lucky in that we've had administrations both in the city as well as the commissioners over the years, and the school board, that recognize the importance of having an officer in the school, and who have stepped up and helped finance all the problems, or not problems, but all the costs associated with a PRO program. They're quite busy, these officers, and they're handpicked as to men at this time, who are able to deal with children in a manner that we would all want them to be dealt with. Plus, they're just busy. I mean, they have bus details, traffic details, after-school functions, all the dances, all the football games, basketball games. It just goes on and on. Plus, they're involved in actual teaching of some of the classes, wherein the whole thing is interaction with the children. Greeting the children as they get off the bus. If you go to these schools that early in the morning, you watch the kids get off and they're high-fiving the officers, they're giving hugs. It's a treat. You go there during lunchtime, and it's elementary school. I end up issuing a new piece of equipment to each one of my elementary officers, scissors. Children were having a hard time opening up ketchup packets. When I go to visit, there's often times that I'm tying babies' shoes. I mean, they're little people, their fingers don't work quite as well. Lunchtime at the elementary school was opening milk for them, and just walking through and talking to them. That interaction is in the trust that's being developed is just unbelievable, and how much help that gives us in the future, and at this time with the child itself. It's a wonderful program.
Okay. So, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Tax Office, consideration of approval of the Sheriff's Commission. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Finance, approval of probate and estates.
Mike Lucas says those are ready to go.
Mike Everlady.
Never.
For those of you who don't know, this is our Assistant Prosecutor Jack Wood filling in for Mike Lucas. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Motion passes 3-0. Got ahead of myself. Approval of exoneration orders, we have 12. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. General county bills.
General county bills are $8,642.79. P-card payments for all funds is $75,509.62.
A motion to pay the bills.
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Animal shelter levy fund bills and requisitions.
They're okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Library levy fund bills and requisitions.
They're okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. And shelter workshop levy fund bills and requisitions.
They're okay to pay as well.
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Go to the order, Ms. LaScola.
Nothing today.
Mr. Wood.
Have anything?
Mr. Vitus.
I have nothing else today.
Ms. Nunley.
I just wanted to say that Natasha had been one of our part-time dispatchers, so her moving into the full-time position, and with Matt, I'm glad to say he has gained the full-time employment at Ergon of West Virginia, so we're really happy for him that he was able to make that move. So that is the reason we currently are asking for 4 more part-time dispatchers. We, as of so far in July, we have 3 part-time dispatchers, 2 which have not picked up any open shifts, and I have another one that is part-time or full-time as an EMT at downstate West Virginia. He has been able to pick up a shift for us. So that is the need, and we also have several full-time positions. As you went through the minutes, you will know that we have several openings. So thank you for that approval. And part of these people that would be hired would be eventually being able to move up to full-time. So thank you very much for that.
No problem. You have
I've
anything
spoken
more?
quite a bit.
I thought you
But
did.
I want to thank you for continuing to support the children of Hancock County. This program is just that important.
I agree. Mr. Foley.
Nothing. I can't follow anything said.
Mr. Kelly.
Again, I just want to thank Mr. Cheeks for coming forward again and even volunteering his time for the van driving for our veterans, and just thank you for looking out for our veterans, and also for the Brook Senior Center, and that also for feeding the ones here in Hancock County that are needed. Thank you very much for your services. And everybody try to keep hydrated and cool during the summer.
Mr. Davis.
Something I'd like to bring up to my colleagues here. I'm sure you can agree, due to the overwhelming amount of funding requests that we get, I'd like for you to consider for an item in the future on the agenda. And this item would be that we implement a policy. And this policy would require organizations that come before the commission seeking funding, that they present to us financial statements, 3-year tax returns, current bank statements, share their finances with us, and be open about their situation. We're always happy to help out, and this certainly doesn't go to any new organization, but there are organizations that come before the commission year after year. And I'd like to put together a policy that they have to follow when requesting funding from the commission, be able to share their expenditures. Just something to think about. Maybe we can look at getting it on an agenda item here in the near future.
Yeah, and I think that's a good idea. I know a couple of years ago we checked some of the regulars that continually ask. It's funny because they'll ask you for seed money to get the program started, and you're more than willing to help them because you know it could benefit. And then I think they take for granted that seed needs planted every year. And some of the programs that we've donated to have done well. So Mr. Wood, does that sound like a possibility? Take a look at that.
Absolutely.
Or will we pass that on to Mike next week?
No, that's something that he had talked about that before, actually, in passing, about the backgrounds and history of the organizations.
Yeah. Okay. The only thing I'd like to say is there was, with all this wind and rain and everything, we had some damage down at one of our parks, Kings Creek Park, Cove Valley Estates, and they had a nice tree fall down. The park board got some estimates to remove this tree, and we found out that they were rather high, and they asked what could be done, and the help of Mr. Vitus, he volunteered a couple of our maintenance guys to go down there, and they were able to get this tree down and cut up the first day. And have they been able to get it removed yet, Bob?
We were working on finishing that up this morning, but I haven't heard from them.
Yeah, and I'd just like to thank our maintenance guys. Sometimes they're the low-key guys that do everything and don't get recognized for it, but they stepped up to the plate. They have an event down there July 27th, and they were worried that this tree was going to be laying there. And I just want those guys to know that they are appreciated. So, and with that said, our next meeting is, and she marked down 2 for us, the next meeting, July 25th, 2:30 p.m., and then followed by August 8th at 2:30 p.m. And if there's no further business to come before the commission, I declare this meeting adjourned.